What's up everyone, it's Hitman89, hope you're having an awesome day. After 2 years in early access, Tainted Grail The Fall of Avalon is finally releasing, and since I got a 7-day early copy, I thought I'd dive into it again in order to answer the following question. Is Tainted Grail The Fall of Avalon worth buying right now? Let's find out. This open-world dark fantasy RPG is based on the tabletop game of the same name and reimagines Arthurian legends. You can create your own character, but there aren't enough options or any sliders to make an ugly-ass one. Luckily, since I'm already ugly, I managed to make what basically looks like me in a few years. Anyway, when you're done with the character creator, this asshole will ask you a few questions, and your answers will determine your starting stats. After some stuff happens and you go through a 30-minute tutorial area, you finally land on the main island and immediately get your ass kicked by pretty much everyone. I don't know about you, but for me, this makes the game way more fun. You can pick the difficulty. I went with normal, died in the first 10 minutes, and loved it. You have to take every fight seriously, cause combat-wise, it's like playing some sort of first-person Dark Souls where even the shittiest enemy can kill you if you're being reckless. And knowing you could die in any fight makes killing enemies feel even more rewarding. Speaking of rewarding, every time I decided to explore a little, I found buried treasures, NPCs with side quests, optional dungeons and boss fights, and most importantly, tons of loot. Seriously, I feel like I'm addicted to looting. I clear out every location I visit. In my defense, almost every item in the game can be useful in some way. So you can mine, fish, chop wood, make potions, hunt, craft weapons and armors, and even cook meals. Keep in mind, most skills you use will level up and grant you XP, even simple stuff like running around. And that's dope. Want better loot and an even more challenging experience? Yeah? Then play during nighttime, cause that's when the weirdness takes over, turning regular enemies into monsters. I mean, they're already pieces of shit, but they turn into actual monsters. Plus it gets pretty foggy, so how do I put it in an elegant way? Oh yeah, you can't see shit, and you'll also have to deal with new types of enemies. It's worth the trouble though, cause you get better quality loot that you'll have to identify at your bonfire. That's also where you level up, cook, rest, and if you're a pyromaniac, jerk off. But you'll have to do it in real life, because that's not actually a feature in the Alright, let's get serious for a second. I think we can all agree that, visually speaking, Tainted Grail looks outdated, right? Aside from the lighting effects and some parts of the environment, which can look pretty good, like here, most of the time it feels like you're looking at the 2015 game, or maybe Elden Ring. Oh, and just like in Elden Ring, the lip sync is pretty bad. Plus there is some occasional stuttering on PC. The frame rate just drops significantly for no apparent reason, then goes back to normal. And every time the game auto-saves, it freezes for half a second. Now the stuttering doesn't seem to happen on PS5, but there is noticeable aliasing and the frame rate clearly dips below 60. Also, some cutscenes are so low res, they're literally pixelated. Why? At least the story is well written, and I gotta say I love the dialogues in this game. I mean, there are obviously super serious characters like King Arthur, but then there are also silly ones who made me giggle multiple times, like this crazy bitch right here.
Close your eyes, put on a serious face, like something very mystical is happening. Ooh, ooh, ooh.
Alright, let's get back to the gameplay. The devs absolutely nailed the combat system. I'm a huge melee guy, and here, every hit feels impactful. You can really sense the weight of your weapon, but I also use range combat a lot, just cause it feels amazing too. Landing headshots is crazy satisfying, though not quite as satisfying as shooting people in the dick. Am I a sick fuck? Nah. Now we don't always have to go guns blazing. You could just use stealth and take out enemies with the bow and arrow, or with daggers if you prefer to get up close and personal. The approach I picked personally is flattening enemies with a massive two-handed hammer. The number of possible builds and approaches makes Tainted Grail suit pretty much every playstyle. Too bad enemies disengaging mid-fight is still a thing. I know they're not supposed to chase you across the entire map, but if you're actively fighting them, they shouldn't just run back to their positions and forget they ever saw you, right? Take these guys for example. I couldn't handle them all at once, so I kept taking them out one by one. I would show up to their camp, smash a guy's head from behind, then take off running like a little bitch, wait a couple of minutes, and do it all over again. Hey, sometimes you just gotta do what you gotta do. By the way, there is friendly fire, so if you're lucky, archers and mages will accidentally hit their friends. This poor bastard took an arrow to the back of the head. Some people wanted the third person mode. Well, guess what? Now there is one, but it's not really good. There's even a pop-up warning you that this feature isn't intended to be highly polished. You know what the game won't warn you about though? This tree-hugging skeleton. And how the hell did this guy get up there? So yeah, what I'm trying to say is, I've run into quite a few bugs. Nothing game breaking, just funny stuff like this guard who starts shadow boxing every time I'm around. Like, what the fuck? Anyway, Tainted Grail is basically Oblivion with modern gameplay mechanics and some Dark Souls elements too. It's fun and super addictive. This is one of those games I can play all day and not get bored. I mean, I stayed up until 6 AM playing this fucking game. That's how much I love it. Let's move on to the verdict. Technically speaking, Tainted Grail: The Fall of Avalon is far from being perfect, and I really hope the devs will be able to iron out some of the issues I mentioned in this review. But gameplay-wise, it's a blast, and that's why I'm giving it an 8 out of 10. If you're into dark fantasy RPGs, then this game is a must-have. Even at full price, you'll get your money's worth. And that's gonna be it for this review. If you found it helpful, or maybe entertaining, then please give it a like. It helps this shitty channel get recommended to more people. Next, we'll have the best co-op games, so stay tuned. It's been Hitman89. Have a good one.
I ain't the one to fuck with. Now they looking nervously, and I don't really care what you think of me respectfully. You can kick rocks if you think you're fucking better. See, I will out.